Let me ask you something. What would you do if someone tried to fence you out of your own land? I'm not talking about a neighbor's misplaced picket or a city zoning dispute. I mean a homeowners association, an HOA I didn't even belong to, fencing off the only access point to my own ranch, and then slapping a big smug gate right in the middle of it, like they owned the place. That's not just a nuisance. That's war. And me? I'm the kind of guy who doesn't start fights, but I sure as hell know how to finish them. I've owned the ranch outside Canyon Rock, Texas for almost 20 years. A quiet 47-acre spread of rough grassland, a few cattle, and peace. That's all I ever wanted. My father left it to me after he passed, and while the taxes weren't cheap, I kept it running because it was our legacy. Back then there was no HOA in sight, just ranchers, dirt roads, and respect. But times change. A few years ago, someone got the bright idea to turn the lots just north of me into a suburban oasis. They paved a road, dug a few artificial ponds, and upsprouted Hawthorne Ridge, a gated, eco-friendly development complete with pastel-colored homes, solar roofs, and residents with more money than sense. And where did their only road connect? Right through my old easement road, the one I've been using since I was 17. At first I didn't mind. We shared the road. I let them pave it even, thought it was neighborly. But then came the letters, the complaints about my cows, the threats about visual pollution. And then, without warning, the fence. They built a black iron fence right across the access road. And right in the middle of it, a gleaming keypad-secured gate, controlled entirely by the HOA. And when I went to talk to them, that's when I met Pamela Green, president of the Hawthorne Ridge HOA, and self-proclaimed guardian of community standards. She wore a wide hat, wraparound sunglasses, and a smile that could curdle milk. "This isn't personal," she said. "It's just that this is a private road now. We can't have non-residents using it. Liability issues, you understand." "Non-resident? I own the land this road runs through. I've used this road since before your cookie-cutter houses were even built," I told her. She smiled, that tight little smug curl of her lip. "Then maybe it's time to find another route." I didn't shout, didn't threaten, but I did start digging, not just for another way in, but through county records, plat maps, deed archives, and what I found? Gold. Turns out that road wasn't just an easement, it was still partially mine. The HOA had paved over it without formally purchasing the land underneath. Worse, their own development's access to the main road still technically ran through my property. They fenced me out. But by law, they were trespassing. I hired a lawyer. Not to sue. No, not yet. I had a better idea. I bought back the full easement from the county, quietly, legally. Then I installed my own automated gate, this time on my end of the road, right before their new metal fence. Mine had cameras, license plate readers, and a toll system. I called it Ridge Pass Toll Gate. Price? $5 per vehicle. HOA residents only. Pay up or turn around. Pamela lost her mind. She called me screaming, claiming I was blocking emergency access. I reminded her she had no legal right to use that road without my permission. Her fancy gate blocked me, not the other way around. You can't just charge people to use a road. "Oh, but I can," I said, "and I am, unless you want me to build a barn across it." Within 24 hours of activating the Ridge Pass toll gate, I had already made $65. Just 3 HOA residents had tried to use the road that morning. 1 paid. 2 backed out in a huff, spinning their tires as they turned around. I watched it all from the comfort of my porch, coffee in hand, my security feed streaming live on a big screen inside the barn. But it wasn't about the money. Not really. It was about respect. And I wasn't the only one noticing. That afternoon, a white Lexus SUV pulled up to my side of the gate and honked. Loud. Long. I already knew who it was before I checked the feed. Pamela Green, HOA president, queen of pastel suburbia. She sat behind the wheel like a statue, sunglasses on, face tight. I walked out to the gate, tipping my hat just slightly. "Need to get through?" I asked. "This is a public safety issue," she said flatly. "You're extorting residents. This is illegal." I pointed at the brand new county signage I'd installed. "Private road, authorized access only, toll required." "Perfectly legal," I said. "My land, my rules, unless you'd prefer I tear up the road entirely." Pamela didn't answer, just glared. Behind her, a line of 3 more cars started piling up. One of them had a family inside, a kid in the back seat looking bored and hot. Another car idled so long the driver finally gave in, tapped the payment app on the posted QR code, and the gate swung open automatically. Pamela didn't move, not an inch. She reversed all the way out, tires squealing, and I swear I saw her lip trembling as she sped off. The power shift. By the end of the week, I'd racked up nearly $500. The HOA sent me an official letter claiming I was causing undue hardship and operating an unauthorized business. My lawyer laughed so hard on the phone he nearly dropped it. "They have no case," he said. "If anything, you're undercharging. You're not blocking them. You're offering paid access. It's their choice." So I leaned in. I upgraded the gate. Solar panels, backup battery, better cameras, and now a license plate whitelist. If a resident didn't pay, their plate got flagged. If they tried to tailgate another car through, the barrier snapped shut halfway. Word spread fast. People either paid or parked at the other end and walked home. And that's when things got dirty. Retaliation. One morning, I found my mailbox smashed, not kicked, fully mangled with what looked like a metal pipe. A day later, my cattle feed bags were slashed open behind the barn. Then came the anonymous complaint to the county about code violations on my property, and an anonymous tip to animal control about supposed neglect. Every time someone showed up, took pictures, found nothing wrong, but I knew where it came from. Pamela Green was losing control and she didn't like it one bit. But instead of getting mad, I got smarter. I posted a sign on the fence beside the toll gate that read, "Revenue from this gate funds ranch improvements, local agriculture, and animal rescue. Pay with pride. Support your community." Suddenly, the conversation shifted. Some folks in Hawthorne Ridge, not many, but a few, actually started siding with me. A retired school teacher named Joyce sent me $100 through Zelle and wrote, "Wish our HOA used money like you do. Keep fighting the good fight." Another man stopped by and said, "Honestly, I don't even mind paying if it means putting Pam in her place." And Pamela, she doubled down. She called an emergency HOA meeting. I wasn't invited, but someone leaked the video. Pamela stood at the front of the community clubhouse, waving a stack of papers in the air. "This man is holding us hostage," she yelled. "We can't let him continue this harassment." A younger homeowner, I think his name was Lucas, raised his hand. "Technically, we built our access road on his land. Shouldn't we be negotiating?" Pamela's voice cracked. "We are a gated community, not some backwoods toll stop." Someone clapped. Pamela slammed her folder down and stormed out. It didn't take long after that HOA meeting video leaked for Pamela to launch a full-scale counterattack. First came the petition. She went door to door in Hawthorne Ridge, clipboard in hand, demanding signatures to put a stop to the extortionist rancher. That was her exact wording. Multiple people messaged me screenshots of her emails. She claimed I was operating an unauthorized tollway and that I was a danger to neighborhood cohesion. She managed to gather 27 signatures, about half the neighborhood. The other half either ignored her or told her to go kick gravel. Pamela submitted the petition to the county zoning board, demanding they investigate my gate and revoke my easement access rights. Unfortunately for her, she'd picked the wrong target. I showed up at the zoning board hearing with my attorney, Gina, who was as sharp as a rattlesnake in court heels. Pamela wore a pastel blazer and brought a color-coded folder of complaints and photographs. But Gina had something better. Deeds, permits, historical land records, and a map showing the road running across my property line, not hers. Pamela's arguments fell apart under scrutiny. "Mr. Rawlins," the chairperson asked me, "is this gate located entirely on your property?" "Yes, sir." And do you allow passage for emergency vehicles, delivery drivers, and public service as required? Absolutely. Even gave them their own passcode. And you're charging a private toll for residential use across your land? Correct. The chairwoman glanced at Pamela. Then we see no violation here. Dismissed. Pamela stood there, stunned. Her lips moved, but no words came out. She stormed out before the hearing even adjourned. Pamela's secret weapon. Of course, Pamela wasn't finished. 2 weeks later, I received a letter, certified, from a big-name law firm, cease and desist. It claimed I was causing undue emotional distress to residents and engaging in malicious property behavior. They even hinted that my toll booth was a form of targeted economic retaliation, a fancy way of calling me petty. They demanded I take the gate down or face litigation. Now, most people might panic at this point, but I didn't, because tucked between the pages of that legal threat was a fatal mistake. The lawyer had included copies of property diagrams as evidence, and wouldn't you know it, one of them clearly showed a sliver of HOA-maintained greenbelt that crossed onto my land by 6 feet. 6 feet. They'd landscaped over my property without permission, which meant they were trespassing. Again. So I did what any reasonable landowner would do. I sent them my own cease and desist, demanding removal of all HOA-maintained structures and landscaping within 30 days, or I'd bill them for monthly lease fees. And guess what? Instead of pulling it out, they tried to buy it. Pamela called me herself, trying to sound sweet. She offered $5,000 for a perpetual easement. I told her it would cost $50,000 up front, $1,000 a month maintenance, and they'd have to publicly acknowledge fault in writing. She hung up on me mid-sentence. Reinforcements arrive. That same week, something changed in the neighborhood. I got a knock at my front gate. It was Lucas, the guy who had spoken up during that HOA meeting. "I'm not here to fight," he said. "Actually, I want to help." He explained that more than a dozen homeowners were sick of Pamela's leadership. They were tired of rising dues, nonsense rules, and now this fence feud that was driving a wedge between neighbors. "We've been talking about voting her out." He looked at me, hopeful. "Would you speak at our next HOA meeting?" I didn't even hesitate. The HOA showdown. The next meeting wasn't held in the community clubhouse. It was on my land, right outside the toll gate. Lucas and a few others had set up a couple of fold-out chairs and a small podium. About 20 people showed up, in Clue. With Pamela ousted and Lucas in charge, the tone shifted practically overnight. The new HOA board came to the table without threats or condescension. Instead, they asked for a sit-down, no lawyers, no posturing, just neighbors talking. We met at my ranch under the shade of the old pecan tree. Lucas brought coffee. I brought paperwork. They didn't ask me to tear down the toll gate. They didn't even ask me to reduce the price. Instead, Lucas said, "We just want to make it official." The New Deal. After 2 hours of respectful negotiation, we landed on a fair agreement. The HOA would lease the road from me annually, a clean $12,000 a year, renewable. In exchange, I'd maintain the gate and keep it accessible 24/7, except for emergencies. They'd drop all prior legal threats. I'd drop any past damages. And Pamela, barred from interfering, permanently. They even asked if I'd consider helping design a shared garden plot on my side of the fence as a peace gesture. I agreed, with one condition: Pamela Green never sets foot on my land again. Lucas laughed. "You'll get that in writing." The last standoff. Of course, it couldn't end without one last storm. About a week after the New Deal was inked, Pamela showed up at the gate one final time. No SUV this time, just her on foot, arms folded, standing in front of the camera. She pressed the call button. I picked up. "I hope you're proud of yourself," she said. "I am. You embarrassed me, humiliated me, stole from this community." "No," I replied. "I reminded this community what respect looks like." She paused. "Don't think they actually like you. They just hate me more." Then I guess we have something in common. She stepped back, nostrils flared. This isn't over. But it was. The gate didn't open for her, and it never would again. Ridge Pass Ranch, today. The toll road still stands. Only now it's more than a gate. It's a symbol of boundaries, of respect, and of knowing when to stand your ground. I even added a sign, carved into cedar wood and hung above the entrance. Private road, built by spite, funded by HOA. Tourists stopped to take pictures. A local blogger wrote a piece titled, "The Man Who Turned Petty Revenge into Passive Income." To date, I've made over $46,000 from that gate. Half of it's gone back into ranch improvements. The other half? Well, I took a vacation. First one in years. Drove up to Montana, left the gate on auto mode. When I came back, everything was still running smooth. As for Pamela, she moved 2 towns over, tried to join another HOA board, but the folks there, they'd heard the story, and they weren't hiring. Epilogue, legacy. Sometimes I sit on my porch, sip a glass of sun tea, and watch the cars roll through the gate one by one. They slow down, they pay, they pass through respectfully. Funny how it all started with a fence meant to shut me out, and ended with a gate that put me back in control. They thought they could wall me off from my own land. Instead, they paid to use mine. Every single day.